The breaking point. Commander Maya Chen rolled her shoulders back, trying to ease the tension that had built during the 12-hour session in the Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council. The massive crystalline dome above radiated soft blue light, designed to calm the representatives of the 157 member species. For Maya, it only heightened her frustration. The human petition regarding the Zephyrian crisis is denied, announced High Elder Tholox, the ancient Volturian's voice resonating through the chamber despite his frail appearance. The vote stands at 132 against, 19 abstaining, and 6 in favor. Maya's diplomatic aide, Dr. Raj Patel, stopped taking notes on his datapad. His expression remained neutral, but Maya saw the subtle tightening around his eyes. "I request the council explain their reasoning," Maya said, keeping her voice level despite the anger burning in her chest. "The evidence we've presented clearly shows the Caladari Corporation is violating multiple sections of the Sentient Protection Charter. The Zephyrians are losing their homeworld." Several council members shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Elder Vax, a luminescent being from the Andromeda Galaxy, leaned forward. "Commander Chen, while Earth's concern is noted, humanity has been part of our galactic community for merely 73 years. These matters require a broader historical perspective." "A broader perspective," Maya echoed, unable to keep the edge from her voice. "We've documented the forced relocation of 12 million Zephyrians. Their sacred forests are being clear-cut. Their water is being poisoned. These aren't historical matters. They're happening now." The Caladari representative, Director Jalak, flicked his reptilian tail dismissively. "The Zephyrians signed resource agreements centuries ago. It is not the Council's concern if primitive species fail to understand basic contract terms." Maya started to rise from her seat, but Raj placed a warning hand on her arm. She took a deep breath before responding. "Those contracts were signed under duress. We've provided evidence of Caladari threats and coercion." High Elder Tholox tapped his ceremonial staff against the floor. "Commander Chen, the Council has voted. The natural progression of civilization must not be interfered with. This discussion is closed." Maya opened her mouth to protest, but caught Raj's subtle head shake. With considerable effort, she gathered her materials and nodded respectfully to the Council. It was the 37th human proposal rejected in 15 years. Not one had passed without being diluted beyond recognition. They walked in silence through the grand corridors of the Galactic Council station orbiting Rigel IV. Only when they reached the privacy of their ship, the UES Harbinger, did Maya allow her composure to crack. "They're not going to help them, are they?" Raj asked quietly. Maya sank into the captain's chair and stared out the viewport at the massive station glittering against the backdrop of space. "No, they never were. 12 million people, Maya. 12 million people will lose everything." "I know." She turned to face him, her decision already made. "Send a message to President Rodriguez. Tell her I request an emergency session of the United Earth Government. Top priority." Raj's eyes widened. "You're going to recommend withdrawal?" Maya nodded slowly. 73 years we've tried to work within their system. 73 years of being patted on the head and told to wait our turn. Meanwhile, the Zephyrians will be homeless within months. She turned back to the viewport, watching as maintenance drones crawled across the surface of the station like insects on a corpse. It's time humanity found its own path. The journey back to Earth took 5 days. Maya spent most of it reviewing records of every proposal, every vote, every dismissal humans had experienced since joining the Council. The pattern was unmistakable. Humanity's voice meant nothing to the elder races. When they landed in New Geneva, President Elena Rodriguez was waiting on the platform. Her expression was solemn. "That bad?" she asked without preamble. "Worse," Maya replied. "They didn't even pretend to consider it this time." Elena nodded, her silver-streaked hair catching the morning sunlight. "The UEG convenes tomorrow. Every Earth nation and colony world will be represented. And the Zephyrians? Maya asked. Without council approval, we can't officially help them. Maya noted the emphasis on officially. You're considering withdrawal. Elena's eyes hardened. I'm considering all options that let us sleep at night. She lowered her voice. The question is what comes after. If we leave the council, we stand alone in a galaxy that already views us with suspicion. Maya looked up at the clear blue sky of the planet that had given birth to humanity. Maybe that's exactly what we need. The United Earth Government Assembly Hall buzzed with tension as representatives from every nation and colony filled the circular chamber. Many had traveled for days to attend this emergency session. The mood was somber, expectant. President Rodriguez stood at the central podium, her black suit stark against the pale marble backdrop. To her right sat Maya Chen, still wearing the same determined expression she had when she landed. Raj occupied a seat behind them, datapad ready. This emergency session will now begin, Elena announced, her voice cutting through the murmurs. Commander Chen will present her report on the Zephyrian situation and the Council's response. Maya stepped forward, scanning the faces before her. These people represented over 15 billion humans across Earth and its colonies. What she said next would alter humanity's course forever. For 73 years, she began, Earth has worked within the Galactic Council's framework. We followed their rules. We respected their traditions. We believed that together, we could build a more just galaxy. The room remained silent as Maya described the Zephyrian crisis in detail, explaining how the Calidari were stripping the planet of resources, forcing people from ancestral homes, and causing widespread suffering. We presented evidence, Maya continued, clear violations of the Council's own laws. She paused. Their response was to tell us to mind our own business, that we were too young to understand galactic politics. Angry murmurs spread through the chamber. Maya held up her hand. This isn't the first time. This is the 37th proposal Earth has submitted that the Council has dismissed. They see us as children, useful for our resources and unique perspective, but not worthy of an equal voice. She nodded to Raj, who projected a series of images onto the main screen. The first showed Zephyrian children huddled in makeshift shelters. The second displayed Calidari operations tearing through sacred forests that had stood for millennia. The Zephyrians have 4 months before their world becomes uninhabitable, Maya concluded. The Council will do nothing. The question before us is simple. What will we do? President Rodriguez returned to the podium. Thank you, Commander. The floor is now open for debate. The Brazilian representative stood first. If we act without Council approval, what are the consequences? Trade restrictions, technology embargoes, possibly being barred from Council space, Raj answered. And if we do nothing? Asked the representative from Titan Colony. 12 million Zephyrians die, Maya said simply. The debate continued but was shorter than anyone expected. After just 3 hours, the representative from Kenya stood. I think we've heard enough. I move that we hold the vote now. Elena nodded. All in favor of withdrawing from the Galactic Council, press yes on your consoles. All opposed, press no. The chamber grew silent as representatives made their choices. The large display at the front tracked the results in real time. Maya watched the numbers climb. 72% yes, 86% yes, 94% yes. When the final vote registered, the room fell completely silent. The display showed 100% in favor of withdrawal. The vote is unanimous, Elena announced, her voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. As of this moment, Earth and all human colonies officially withdraw from the Galactic Council. No one cheered. This wasn't a moment for celebration, but a somber acceptance of responsibility. Elena turned to her defense secretary. Prepare a statement for distribution to all Earth ships and colonies. What about the Zephyrians? Raj asked. Elena's eyes flashed with determination. Admiral Cato of the UES Prometheus is awaiting orders. His fleet is already positioned near the edge of Council space. She looked around the room, meeting the gaze of each representative. Today marks the beginning of humanity's independent path. Our first act will be to help those the Council abandoned. The Defense Secretary stepped forward. The Prometheus fleet can reach Zephyrian space in 7 days, but evacuating 12 million people will require more ships. Every available vessel will be reassigned, Alina said firmly. This is Operation Sanctuary, effective immediately. As the representatives began to disperse, Maya remained at the podium, staring at the unanimous vote still displayed on the screen. Raj approached her, having second thoughts. Maya shook her head. No, for the first time in 73 years, I feel like we're finally doing what's right instead of what's allowed. Outside the assembly hall, news of the votes spread quickly. People gathered in streets and squares across Earth. No one knew exactly what would come next, but everyone understood one thing. Humanity would now forge its own destiny among the stars, forging a new path. Admiral Hiroshi Kato stood on the bridge of the UES Prometheus, watching as the emerald world of Zephyria grew larger on the main view screen. 5 other ships followed behind: the Athena, the Kilimanjaro, the New Horizon, the Gagarin, and the Mandela. They had traveled through a series of short FTL jumps to avoid Council detection points. Status report, Kato said, his voice calm despite the tension permeating the bridge. All systems nominal, replied his first officer, Commander Sarah O'Neill. We're staying outside Calidary sensor range. They have 23 mining ships in orbit, concentrated over the southern continent. Lieutenant Commander Daniels, the science officer, looked up from her station. Admiral, I'm detecting something concerning. Kato moved to her station. What is it? Daniels pointed to her readings. The Calidary have accelerated their harvesting operations by 400% since our last intelligence report. The planet's biosphere is collapsing faster than predicted. The Zephyrians have less than 2 months, not 4. They know someone might intervene, O'Neill said grimly. They're accelerating their operation. Admiral, called Communications Officer Park, I've established a secure channel to the Zephyrian Leadership Sanctuary. Kato straightened his uniform and nodded. On screen. The view screen shifted to show a slender, blue-skinned being with feathery, gill-like structures along their neck. Their large, multifaceted eyes reflected the light like opals. I am Elder Zivril of the Zephyrian Unity, the alien said in heavily accented standard. You are humans. The Council forbids contact between our peoples. Elder Zivril. Kato began. I am Admiral Hiroshi Kato of Earth. You are correct that the Council forbids this contact. However, Earth is no longer bound by Council rules. Zivril's gill structures fluttered. A sign of surprise, Kato had been told. Explain. Earth has withdrawn from the Galactic Council. We've come to offer your people sanctuary. We know what the Calidary are doing to your world. Zivril was silent for a long moment. The Council refused our pleas for help 38 times. Why would humans help us when the elder races would not? Because it's the right thing to do, Kato said simply. We have prepared habitable areas on our Mars colonies. The terraformed environment is similar to Zephyria. We can evacuate your population before your planet becomes uninhabitable. This could be a trap, came another Zephyrian voice from off-screen. Lieutenant Commander Daniels stepped forward. Elder Zivril, may I share our sensor readings with you? After receiving permission, Daniels transmitted the data. The Zephyrians could be heard discussing in their own language, a melodic sound like wind through reeds. Finally, Zivril returned to the screen. Your readings confirm our own, they said. But how can we trust you? The Council warned us that humans are unpredictable and dangerous. Kato smiled slightly. We're offering evacuation for 12 million people to safe worlds where you can rebuild. Judge our intentions by our actions, not the Council's warnings. After a longer discussion, Zivril nodded slowly. We accept your help, Admiral Kato. But understand that my people are frightened. We have children, elders, cultural artifacts to preserve. "We understand," Cato replied. "We've prepared for this. We'll begin immediately." The evacuation of Zephyria became the largest humanitarian operation in human history. Over the next 7 weeks, the fleet worked tirelessly, shuttling Zephyrians to the massive colony ships waiting in high orbit. When Caladari ships approached to intervene, the UES Prometheus merely positioned itself between them and the evacuation vessels. No shots were fired. The Caladari were bullies, not warriors. Word of Earth's actions spread quickly through the galaxy. The Council issued formal condemnations and imposed the expected sanctions, but something unexpected happened as well. Representatives from the Arcturus Collective, the Rigelian Confederation, and 3 other mid-tier civilizations contacted Earth privately. They too had grown weary of Council politics that favored the ancient races. 3 months after the evacuation of Zephyria was completed, representatives from 17 species gathered on Mars to sign the charter for the Coalition of Free Worlds. The principles were simple: mutual defense, fair trade, and absolute prohibition of exploitation of pre-spaceflight civilizations. Humanity, having demonstrated both strength and compassion, was asked to lead. The Council was not pleased. Sanctions escalated to threats. When those were ignored, a Council fleet entered Earth's solar system, positioning itself near Jupiter. Their message was clear: return to the fold or face consequences. President Rodriguez called an emergency meeting of the coalition leadership. "The Council fleet outguns us 10-1, Defense Secretary Alvarez reported grimly. "If they attack, we cannot win a direct confrontation." Rodriguez looked around the table. Opinions. Maya Chen, now Earth's ambassador to the coalition, spoke first. "We didn't leave the Council to become bullies ourselves, but we also can't allow intimidation to dictate our future." "The Zephyrians stand with Earth," Elder Zivril said firmly, "though we have little military strength to offer." Similar pledges came from around the table. Within hours, ships from every coalition world were en route to Earth, not to fight, but to stand in solidarity. 5 days later, President Rodriguez addressed the Council fleet from the deck of the UES Prometheus, now positioned at the head of a ragtag but determined coalition force. "High Elder Tholox," she began, "your fleet's presence in our system is unwelcome. Earth does not seek conflict with the Council, but neither will we be intimidated back into a system that demands our compliance while ignoring our voice." Tholox's ancient face filled the view screen. "President Rodriguez, the Council has maintained galactic peace for 12,000 years. Your actions threaten to destabilize that peace." "Peace for whom?" Rodriguez countered. "Not for the Zephyrians. Not for the 36 other species that have disappeared from the galactic stage during your peaceful oversight." She gestured to the ships floating alongside the Prometheus. "We've formed a new coalition based on mutual respect and protection. You're welcome to open diplomatic relations with us as equals. But the days of humanity, or any coalition member, bowing to Council dictates are over. You cannot stand against the combined might of the Council," Tholox warned. "Perhaps not," Rodriguez acknowledged. "But are you prepared for what victory would cost you? Every human would fight. Every coalition world would remember. You might crush us, but the idea we represent would spread. How many more worlds would question your authority then?" The confrontation lasted 3 tense days. Coalition ships continued to arrive, positioning themselves in a defensive formation around Earth. Finally, without explanation, the Council fleet withdrew. 2 weeks later, the Arcturus Collective formally withdrew from the Council to join the coalition. The Rigelian Confederation followed. Within a year, 32 former Council races had joined the new alliance. The balance of power in the galaxy had shifted. The Council still existed, still powerful, but no longer unopposed. A new era had begun. 5 years after Earth's withdrawal, Maya Chen stood on the observation deck of Unity Station, the Coalition's headquarters in orbit around Earth. The massive structure was a testament to cooperation, with sections built by each member species, incorporating their unique architectural styles and environmental needs. Raj joined her, now her chief of staff. "The Calidari have requested membership in the coalition," he said, handing her a datapad. Maya raised an eyebrow. "After everything they did to the Zephyrians." "Their government has changed," Raj explained. "The younger generation overthrew the corporate oligarchy. Their new leadership has already begun reparation payments to the Zephyrian settlements." Maya looked out at the blue-green sphere of Earth below. "Have the Zephyrians been consulted about the application?" "They're reviewing it now. Elder Zivril says they'll judge it fairly, whatever that means." Maya smiled. "It means they've learned something the Council never did. That true strength isn't in domination, but in reconciliation." She handed the datapad back to Raj. "Schedule the application for review at next month's assembly, and add a note that all membership decisions must have Zephyrian approval." "You know," Raj said, looking out at the stars, "when we left the Council, I was terrified we'd be standing alone against the galaxy." Maya nodded. "Instead, we found out how many others were waiting for someone to take the first step." She turned to face the assembly hall where representatives from 47 worlds were gathering. "The Council ruled for 12,000 years because they convinced everyone there was no other way. And now," Maya smiled, "now we show the galaxy what happens when every voice matters." The assembly chimes sounded, calling representatives to their seats. Maya squared her shoulders and walked toward the chamber door, ready to help guide a coalition that had already changed the galaxy, not through domination, but through the simple, revolutionary idea that every species deserved to be heard. Humanity had left the Council to stand alone. Instead, they had shown the galaxy a new way forward together.